All right, what's going on? Back again. Today's episode, I'll be walking you through some lats training tips I've been working for myself, and I want to share them with you guys. So first of all, a lot of individuals can't actually feel their lats, and I used to be one of those people as well. I was never able to feel them. They would never get pumped, never get soreness the next day. Is that saying that you have to get pumps, you have to get sore, you're not making progress? Of course not. You can still get progress in other ways, indirectly, but at the same time, you still want to be able to feel the muscle, you still want to be able to connect with the muscle, and that's what some of these tips are about. So we're going to start off with something called activation, where we're going to do a one-arm pullover, and we're basically working in this plane here, right? So I understand the lats, it's not just up and down. You could work your lats on a lat pull down with your elbows out wide. But if we're doing a pullover motion, you don't want to have a pronated grip with your elbows out. This is why if you have a pullover machine at your gym and your hands are pronated and you're like so, with your hands out wide, you might feel some rear delts. You might not actually feel your lats. So if you want to feel your lats more in this particular exercise, in this particular plane, you want to have a neutral grip, a semi-supinated grip, but for the best, supinated grip. The supinated grip is going to limit the scapular elevation, so you won't be able to use your upper back to cheat, and you'll be able to drive down and feel your lat a lot more. The problem is a lot of people, they don't have access to the supination, and if they just force themselves into the position, it's not as easy to hold. So for example, we're gonna do it ipsilateral, so same leg, same arm, right? So as it gets heavier, this may not feel that good. So the way I personally like to do it, super simple. I grab a cuff. This is just how I do it. It's more comfortable with myself. Okay. All you need to do is just grab a cuff. And now I feel more comfortable in this supinated position, right? I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna load that right foot. Okay. And then from here, I wanna go as high as I can without the scapular elevation. So if I'm shrugging, I don't want that. I'm gonna go as high as I can without the shrug. So for me, it's around right here. And it's gonna get better over time as I keep doing the lift, but for now, this is what I'm working with before I start getting into this shrugging pattern. So from here, all I'm gonna do is drive my elbow to my pocket, like so. So notice if I was neutral or even pronated, I could go too high. So the fact that I'm supinated, it's gonna limit the scapular elevation I could get in this lift, right? As far as the lateral flexion, some people like to flex a bit laterally. You can get a little bit. I actually recommend a little bit too, but you don't have to get greedy with it. So I'm right here, heavy on this foot, laterally flex just a little bit. And then from here, all I'm gonna do is drive down. Pause, pause. So I could already feel my lat like crazy on this. And to the people in the comments saying, oh, this is a fluffy lift, this is a prep drill that I do first to feel the lats, and the loading potential is still high. If you could do half the stack, if you could do eventually the whole stack on a one-arm pull down, you're gonna feel your lats. So that's why I like this exercise. It's gonna teach me, not only is it gonna carry over to presses, and it's gonna teach me to keep my elbows more tucked as I'm pressing my weights, but it's also gonna help me feel the lats better. So when I transition into my rows, into my pull downs, I'm gonna feel my lats that much more. One arm landmine row. This is hands down one of my favorite exercises for training the lats. Got it from John Meadows a while back, and I really like how you could orient yourself around the weight to make it feel a lot better for your limitations, restrictions, and it feels very natural. The fact that it's unilateral in nature, and you don't need any fancy equipment. The external stability is great, and like I mentioned, since it's only one side of the body at a time, you could use your whole body to basically orient around it to make it feel right for you. So you're gonna connect very well. And the difference between this and a dumbbell is the dumbbell gets really blocky. So over time, you're gonna have to have the arm further away, especially as the dumbbell gets bigger. Whereas this, it doesn't matter if you have 10 pounds on the bar or 200 pounds on the bar, you're just gonna feel the same way because of the handles. So basically, I have access to this handle at my gym. So I'm gonna do it ipsilateral style. So same leg, same arm. Contralateral is the opposite. So I'm gonna hold on to this. And we want adduction, so adduction. We want to keep that elbow close to us for this particular lift, like this, right? So I'm going to make the knob touch the middle of my chest right here. Boom. Keeping the elbows nice and close. So as you can see, this is the handle I'm using. This is the handle I feel the best with. Very thin handle. If you guys don't have access to any kind of handles like this, no problem. I'm showing you the tools in my toolbox. So in that case, I have some clients, for example, some online clients who train at home. Some people train at commercial gyms that don't have any fancy equipment. In that case, they could do it like this. Same style, ipsilateral, so same leg. Like this. You're gonna use 25-pound plates, because with the 25s, they're not gonna touch you as much. You get better range of motion. Take the opposite hand, put it on the knee, hinge back, do that. Okay, very solid lat exercise. And to people in the comment section saying, Phil, why don't you just use the dumbbell, stick to the basics, you don't have to do all these fancy lifts. This exercise has a different resistance profile than the dumbbell. So what do I mean by resistance profile? With this landmine, given the way it's positioned, it's heavier at the bottom, so you get more stretch in the lat at the bottom, and then there's a drop off in weight at the top. So this is a very favorable resistance profile. You can feel it more in the lat. You get a harder squeeze at the top, heavier stretch, 2-for-1 special. So next we got vertical pulls. So obviously if you want to build your lats, you want to have vertical pulls in your program. Now a quick tip on that is I find a lot of people who do the pull downs, they use a handle that's way too thin. And this does not track with the elbows in the favorable way. So if you have a broader frame, or even if you have some kind of muscle on your frame and you're here, if my elbows are gonna tuck in here, it's just too close. You don't have to use what's called the baby handle or the V-bar. You're holding it here. I'm gonna be pulling, my elbows are gonna be here, my hand is here, and the weight is moving in this plane. So if I tuck my elbows here, it doesn't feel natural. What's the simpler solution? You can make the handle meet you where you're already at. So this is why for lats, I personally roll with this handle. It's roughly shoulder width, and this agrees much more with my structure, my build, and it lines up a lot better. My shoulder, my elbow, my wrist, my hand, everything aligns well. So this is the handle I personally roll with when I do my pull downs. So follow me. So this applies to pull-ups as well. There's options on pull-up bars where you could go very narrow. What you want to do is have something that's roughly shoulder width grip, and you're going to find they're going to feel your lats a lot better. So I'm personally using the pull downs more in this particular cycle, and I used to have a negative relationship with them, but at the same time, they provide so much external stability that I get so much out of them. So as you can see here, some people, they set up way too far back, and as the stack gets heavier, they get pulled up. So you want to set up just forward enough where however heavy the stack is, I'm jammed, or should I say I'm anchored. I'm not going anywhere because I have the external stability, right? So from here, you don't want to have scapular elevation when you're trying to work your lats. So what you want to do instead is lean back slightly, okay? I'm going to maintain this position. So I don't want to be rocking here, doing that. I want to stay in the position with the least amount of scapular elevation. So I'm going to start right here, okay? Own the top position. I want to own the end range. So this is what it looks like for me. Right here, right here, right here. Notice my torso is not moving all over the place. I'm stationed right here. Pause there. Another thing too is a lot of people, their shoulders will feel better with higher rep ranges for overhead lifts. So I wouldn't recommend doing 5 reps on a pull down. I actually live in more higher rep ranges, so I up my rep bracket to roughly 10 to 15 reps, sometimes even as high as 20 reps when I'm doing my overhead lifts. If you're doing a pull-up, it's a bit different. I know people, they like to do, 3 rep maxes on a pull-up. Cool. Me personally, when I do my overhead lifts, I like to be in the 10 to 20 range. On lat training, quick recap. Do the one arm cable pullover with the supinated grip, ipsilateral. Do that for sets of 10 to 15 reps. Get really strong at it. You're gonna feel your lats contract a lot harder. After that, try out the one arm barbell row popularized by John Meadows. Get really strong in it, work up to eventually 100 pounds per hand, high reps. You're gonna feel your lats a lot. There's tons of benefits to that exercise. Try out the pull down with shoulder width grip with the neutral grip handle, and try to stay out of the traps. Just pull down and try to limit the upper back in that particular exercise. So give these 3 exercises a try. I'm not gonna give you guys too much too soon, but roll with that, report back, and let me know in the comment section below how it's been working out for you guys. So see you soon.